All right, shalom. Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praises, honor, and infinite glory unto Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And also peace and safety to all the Akim that spread across the four corners of the world that's pushing out this truth with all diligence and putting their lives on the line to do so. I'm the brother Karas is out here at Great Millstone, Atlanta. Just back at you again with another brief lesson. Going into the topic of, Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi is all we need. Of course, with us being in the flesh, we kind of tend to, think of certain, things where we lack at, whether it be friends, or so-called friends, money, so-called stability, because there's no stability in Babylon, and things of that nature. We tend to, say, think that we're lacking in those, certain areas, but, we understand, that we have Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi, which trumps all, that trumps, everything that we've lost, in this world. The Lord, us having the Lord, is 100 times more better than that. So I'm gonna start off in the scriptures in Psalms chapter 91 and verse 1. And it says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." You see, so that covering, we, have that covering of, Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. It says, "I will say of the Lord Yahawah, He is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in Him will I trust." You see, so the Lord is our, our safe place, man. We go to Him, for, the things that we're in need of, and everything else is tangible, man. Everything else can be, replaced, but the Lord, He's everlasting, He has no beginning and He has no end, so why, what else could we go to for the things that we're in need of? Verse 3, it says, "Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler." You see, so the Lord is going to be the one ultimately who delivers us from, the traps, of the wicked, man. Mainly Esau, Edom. And as times, increase, as we keep saying and reiterating the same things over and over again, the Lord is going to continue, to further His name, in the earth, whether it be by you or somebody else. Just thought about in one of those Endgame movies, I believe it was the second one, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not really too good at remembering movies, but basically Iron Man, he kind of foreseen. No, it wasn't Iron Man Salakia, but it was Doctor Strange. He foreseen, all the ways that they could defeat Thor. Not Thor, Thanos. So like I told you, I'm not good with these movies, but and it was just like a small percent of a chance, that in which they would be able to defeat him, and that's, I looked at that as like, us having, the blessings, and the mercy of the Lord, of us getting this truth out of all the millions and billions of people in the earth, man. You know, the Lord gave us this truth. You know, so what more is it for us to, you know, try to lean on something else, or, you know, try to depend on family and, you know, jobs, careers, and, you know, things that can be replaced. You know, we have Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. I'm going to go to Psalm chapter 37, which we pull all the time. So like 34:7. It says, the angel of the Lord Yahawah encampeth round about them that fear him. You see? So since we have the fear of Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi, you know, he sent his angels, you know, to encamp round about us, man. You know, and protect us, you know, from the world, you know, from the you know, these, you know, wicked, you know, individuals, you know, who prey and hunt, you know, on the meek and the humble, you know, because brothers are humble, man. You know, we try to, you know, portray that, you know, to the world, and people, like the saying goes, like to take your kindness for weakness, you know, but the Lord has given us this, you know, spirit to be able to, you know, have the best of both worlds, so to speak, you know, because we don't let these people run over us, you know, in that aspect. And also, you know, to those that, of the people, you know, who does have some type of, you know, upbringing, a good upbringing, you know, they can see the good in us, man. You know, just as Yahawashi told us, they be that light in the world. You know, but going back to, you know, the topic, says the angel, Psalms 34:7, the angel of the Lord Yahawah encampeth round about them that fear him and delivereth them. You see? So they keep us out of these situations to where we could, you know, you could lose your job, your life. You know, how many car accidents have we avoided? You know, we say, call Allah and Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. How many, you know, incidents to where it was like, damn, that could have been life-threatening, man. You know, that we've avoided. You know, all through the mercy of Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. You know, verse 8 says, "O taste and see that the Lord Yahawah is good. Blessed is the man that trusteth in him." You see, so all of our trust is supposed to be in Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. You know, and in nothing else. You know, remember the scriptures say, you know, that the fashions of this world passeth away. You know, so you going, you know, seeking answers, you know, that the Lord is clearly giving you. You know, you're not putting your trust in him. You know, you're not putting your trust in the Lord. When she's showing you, he's like, the answer is right there in your face, man. You know? Remember the scripture said a man cannot serve two masters. You know? So you got to pick a side and stay there. And those, you know, of us who's been dedicated to, you know, the ministry and the service of Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi, he's going to look out for it. You know? There's Isaiah, the 65th chapter. You know? And we're going to continue, you know, Lord willing, that he keeps his spirit on us. You know, and not take his Rakah Kodash away from us. You know, that we're going to continue in this fight. You know, all the way until the end. You know, so I just wanted to touch on that. Lord willing, it was edifying. I'm going to go ahead and close up by giving all praises, honor, and infinite glory into Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, bahasham, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Till the next time, shalom.